Welcome to another episode of Lifelong Learner. This is the Out of Class edition with Ben, Janesh, and Matt. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Lifelong Learner. Welcome, Benny. How you doing today?
Really good, really good. Back in sunny Melbourne after a holiday in Queensland.
Yeah, it's very sunny. What's the weather? What are you looking at out your window right now?
I'm at my home office this morning and I'm looking out at the window and I can see the green, wet trees and the wet ground and the rain coming down.
It's quite tropical, isn't it?
No, it's cold. It's cold. It's cold and wet. I've been out for my walk and talk this morning, Wednesday morning, and I was rained on for the whole trip. Yeah. And I was rugged up, mate. As soon as it drops under 18 degrees, I got gloves on.
Because is that? It's called, what do you get? There's a
reflex sympathetic dystrophy.
There it is.
RSD. It's it triggers that vasoconstriction in your hands, and you get those cold, kind of icy blue fingertips. Mate, so I just put gloves on.
Yep.
It makes all the difference.
There was some test or study where they put someone in a cool room and they had like down jacket, pants, all that, but had their no socks, no shoes, no gloves, no beanie, and then they had someone else and the same person go in and go just with jocks, socks, beanie, and gloves, and they retained their core temperature longer.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I agree. Because I run, as you and the listeners have probably heard before, I run with all my gear off. So just shorts, pair of runners, all year round. But I've got to put gloves on. Got to put gloves on. And so it can look a bit weird because they go, mate, are you okay with the cold or not? Like, you got all your gear off, but you got gloves on. I can run right through winter without any gear on, but I got to have a pair of gloves.
Yeah, gloves are the big one, I reckon. In winter, I can run. I can still since we've been back in Australia, I can still run in shorts in the winter time, but with gloves. And then I end up taking them off, like, after starting. And then I'll be all right. Like, top half needs to be warm, and then I can strip off. But, like, in the States, I've got these two pairs of, like, winter leggings, right? One's by Nike, one's by Under Armour. I wear them here, and I'm too hot. Like, it's not cold enough for them, and they've just sat in the closet. Like, they're just I was like, it's a good problem to have. But it was like, yeah, we don't need there. It would be all winter. You'll just be in them because it's way too cold. It was way too cold for me to be in shorts.
Yeah. Mate, have you been running? You been getting out?
Mate, I have ish. I'm going to say keyword ish. Was it last week? Week before? Did a speed workout. I think I was telling you this before on the phone. Did a speed workout, and then the Achilles flared up again, which is was a little annoying. It was a short speed workout, and then Achilles flared up, and I was like, oh. And now Achilles is still. I'm aware of it. It's not painful. Like, I can jog on it now. So I went on a jog last night, which was good. But mate, I've got to the exercise part in your in the book that you got me. Want to run too, so I'm going to start them this week on the fixing the flat tires.
Yes,
and there's a section there for Achilles tendonitis, actually.
Yes,
so I'm gonna start them actually. Hopefully this afternoon or tonight I'll start them. But yeah, good, but annoying because, like, heart and lungs feel good. Right, heart and lungs feel like, oh, I'm ready to go. But then there's like this little niggly, like, this is annoying. And so I think last year I let that drive all activity and inactivity. But what was it? Yesterday I started a new gym routine, which is good. So I was like, all right, I'm going to stay on this even if I'm injured or not. Like, so if I can run or not. So I continue that for like 3 to 4 days a week. short, not like epic, long hour and a half gym workouts, but something. So then you're doing that strength stuff at the same time as running, and I think it'll complement the running. So yeah, a bit, but then the Cyrus soccer season starts pretty soon. So I'm looking at events going, what events on a Saturday, right? So any event that's coming up on a Saturday, I'm like, okay, I'm in, and I need to get the body right for that. So I was looking on the calendar yesterday. I think I found one-ish, but I don't know yet on that. What about you? How's your running?
Well, running's good. I'm back at, not back at the gym. I've been consistent at the gym, and but just you and I were talking just off air about just dropping a few kilos. I'm just so much better since I saw my nutritionist, and she's just given me some little tweaks that have made a massive difference to my gut health. But it's meant that I can kind of eat more without feeling unwell, and so I've been eating a little bit more, and probably 2.5, 3 kilos. And it doesn't feel like it's necessarily a lot, but it's 3 cartons of milk. It's 3 liters of milk. When you buy milk and you pick up that carton of milk, whether it's oat milk like in our house or cow milk, like it's got a bit of weight, right? So there's 3 of those, and I reckon probably as a male, probably maybe half a litre is on my body, and the other 1.5 to 2 litres to 2.5 litres is on my belly, that little patch that sits underneath your belly button. It's just sitting there, and it's just noticeable. So I don't like it. I don't like the feeling of the weight when I'm running. And, mate, I don't like, when I put a T-shirt on, and I like a tight T-shirt, by the way, Janesh.
I know. As you're wearing it, those listeners today, Ben's wearing a shameless promotion T-shirt today with his need a massage, myotherapy and massage T-shirt on.
Yes, my business. And if you're looking for a massage, quality massage, then Morning Exponential Myotherapy is the place to go. So I do like a tight T-shirt. Don't like the fact the T-shirt makes me look like I'm 12 weeks pregnant. And so just that little bulge, and not happy with that bulge. And I don't think it's healthy either. Doesn't feel healthy when I'm running. And so need to drop that 2.5, 3 kilos, mate. So I'm on a bit of a mission at the moment. And it's not hard. It just means I don't have a bit of cake during the day. It doesn't mean I don't have a bit of toast in the morning.
Mate, you can't have toast in the morning, mate. That's like your go-to with a bit of honey, a bit of butter, mate. Yours that with your cup of tea in the morning and the paper and the book.
Correct, mate. I just love that cup of tea, plenty of butter on a bit of toast with a bit of honey and a cup of tea, and but it's lethal. Just all those calories, they add up. And so, mate, the only calories I'm consuming are healthy calories, good, healthy ones, and smaller meals. And I can already feel there's a difference. I haven't jumped on the scales, but I'm probably down 0.5 kilo this week.
So when did you start making some of those changes? This week? Last week?
On the weekend.
Yeah, nice.
Weekend.
It's a tough weekend to make those changes, mate. Easter. A lot of chockies around, hot cross buns.
Yeah, well, that's what started it. It was Friday I got up and made I was going to make hot cross buns, but we realised we didn't have any yeast in the house, so I made hot cross scones, which were actually really good.
Nice.
But you got to have plenty of butter on a hot cross scone. And, by Friday lunchtime, I just went, this has got to stop.
Already from Friday morning to Friday afternoon.
So Friday lunch, that was it. I went to Michelle, said, Michelle, right. I'm going to start eating well. I'll see you later. I'm off to the gym. So, mate, there's just these little, I think you maybe you lie to yourself, or you are intentionally ignorant of what you're doing. I don't know what the word would be, but and then it just reaches a point, whether it's around drinking, whether it's around eating, whether it's around sleeping in or not exercising. We have all these little justifications, and then one day you just hit a point where you're having a little bit of a crisis and it just takes that to make a change.
Mate, going back one step, did you notice when you stopped drinking that you shed kilos?
No, I put weight on.
Really?
Yeah, because I replaced the alcohol with food.
Interesting. Oh, that release, that moment. Okay.
The comfort eating. It became a comfort eating. Ben and Jerry's. Mate. I don't know. It was not long after I gave up alcohol. I was
You took up Ben and Jerry's.
I went to a 7-Eleven after dinner. I went down to get something, like maybe some milk for the next morning or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a lady in the fridge, and she was deciding what Ben and Jerry's to buy. And I thought, yeah, Ben and Jerry's. That sounds like good. And I saw the cookie dough one, the Tonight Show with cookie dough and all sorts of other things in it. I went, yeah, I'm gonna get one of those. Well, I took it home. Right, it was so good. It was so good. And the next night, I'm down buying another tub of Ben and Jerry's.
That's funny.
And before I knew it, Ben and Jerry's Tonight Show cookie dough ice cream was my thing. So, but yeah, so it's just that you know, food brings comfort, brings certainty. You know, it helps kind of calm the system down, moves you more into a parasympathetic state. And so in the past, I would finish the day a little wound up from the day and think, you know, a glass of wine will bring me back down. Now it's, you know, I kind of work my way through that period when I get home. But then after dinner, I still feeling like I just want a little bit more comfort. You know, and that 200, sometimes 300 calories, it adds up over a week if you're doing it every night. And so by the end of the week, you've eaten almost a whole nother day worth of food than what you should eat. And that builds up pretty quick. So, yeah, mate, food became my replacement for drinking alcohol. And I was conscious of it. But like I said, you know, you just ignore it.
Yeah,
you tell yourself some kind of story around it, but then, you know, one day you kind of wake up and go, enough's enough. So
yeah.
I think we've all been there regularly, and then we get back off track, you know. And each time, you know, we ask ourselves, I wonder how I could make it more sustainable next time, so that it becomes part of my lifestyle.
Yeah. How? Yeah, because I personally yo-yoed like big time. Like tightened, and then like tightened, seen a little bit of a improvement, not amazing improvement, and then haven't stuck it out. And I'm going, I think it was it last year when kind of injured and we did a couple of overseas trips. It was like yo-yoed went on the other end big time, right? You're holidaying, it's all that. But then you're holidaying, and then we were holidaying in places where it was summer. So it was like you're in swimmers all the time, and I'm looking back on photos, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look the greatest. And then you tighten up, and then it's like, all right, and now it's just kind of, how do you sustain the tighten up? Yeah.
I think one of the things that I've noticed is the only way is to disconnect from, in my case, what the rest of the family are doing and eating. You know, because, you know, Michelle might have the munchies one night and get some chockies. Next night she doesn't, but the next night Eden's got the munchies and she gets some cake, right? And the next night, you know, hasn't got the munchies, but Logan comes home and, you know, Michelle decides to cook some kind of dessert that night because it's a special night that he's home. And if you're not independent, then you eat the chocolates that night, you eat the cake the next night, you eat the dessert the next night.
Yeah.
And so for me, I've just got to become independent around my food and around my cooking and eat independently. And I get that super hard if you're in a family with young kids. You know, we've got grown-up kids that can do their own thing. And so Michelle and I have kind of just got this agreement that we'll have our own meals. Sometimes there's an overlap between our meals, and sometimes there's no overlap between our meals. And so we just look after our own food when we're going into these times of wanting to tidy up. and then I found that tends to then sustain. Like we just keep a bit more of an independent life when it comes to what we eat.
Food, yeah.
That tends to work. But again, it's tricky when you got young kids like you have, and the family dinners and et cetera, et cetera. But
Mate, when you were saying before that when you saw your nutritionist, you were eating more, and then you put on more, meaning like more healthy stuff, or now is it like you need to take that more and now make it less or different, or?
Yeah, I was on a really restrictive diet. By the way, mpnutrition.com.au is my other business, which started literally because I was just having these ongoing gut issues for 3, 4, 5 years, and I'd seen everyone and had heaps of tests and done all sorts of diets, and just nothing was really working except a really restrictive diet, which was pretty much some kind of animal protein and broccolini, which is good, right? And it's
great, but I could imagine that gets boring after 2 weeks.
Boring. And then any time I ate anything outside of that, my guts would react and I was unwell. So and I thought, this just can't be. This is just not the way it's supposed to be. So I went and saw a nutritionist, and she made some modifications to what I ate, and I was somewhat better. And I thought, like, if that's what nutrition can do, there's heaps of people out there suffering with this gut stuff. There's heaps of people, males suffering with hormonal imbalances that are not. It's just not how it's meant to be. And women with PCOS when they're younger and going through their entire reproductive years with ongoing challenges with getting pregnant and period pain, etc. And then they're going through perimenopause and then menopause. And I'm thinking, like, just nature didn't design us this way to be so to suffer through this journey of life around our nutrition, surely. And so I launched MP Nutrition earlier this year, and our chief nutritionist that came on as one of the team members, Beck, I had a consult with her, and she just gave me some really simple advice that just changed how I absorbed my food and how my digestive system worked. So forget, like, getting specific around what I eat or the nutrients and the fine tuning and all that kind of stuff. She just said, let's just get your digestive system working and absorbing the food properly. And so she helped me out with that. And I got to say, within 2 to 3 weeks, my digestion system changed, and I was able to eat more and more different food. And then, of course, the floodgates opened, and I could eat pretty much anything that I liked.
And the gut was good. I mean, the gut
was good.
Awesome.
The gut was good. So, there's, Ben and Jerry's was back on the menu, and eating things that I would not normally eat, which tended to be carbohydrate foods. I was avoiding those. So, so that's where, I think I've gone off track and maybe eaten some of the wrong things for weight control, etc. And for a whole range of other things. If I kept eating this way, I'd end up with kind of metabolic challenges as well. So, but as part of the program that we work through at MP Nutrition, it's kind of a 12-week process that we take clients through, and the first 4 or so weeks is focused on, let's just get absorption right. Next 4 weeks is, let's look at what you're eating. Let's look at, getting you into some sort of regular rhythm that is sustainable. And then the last period is really, well, is there any fine tuning, any little nutrient tuning that we need to do because of just your body, the way it methylates, that is the way it takes the nutrient and converts it into something that you can use. Is there a genetic challenge there? Is there just from a lifestyle, some permanent damage that, where we need to actually then do some fine tuning around your nutrients? And so we build up from starting with how are you absorbing in your gut? And it's been really powerful and transformational for so many of the clients that we're now seeing that often start just at the other end, where someone says, oh, you got to get more iron, or, you need to increase your vitamin B, or, whatever it might be. Yes, that may be true, but none of that's any good if we don't get the absorption right in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so, mate, so that's where I'm at. Absorption is way better, and I just need to now start looking at what am I eating.
Mate, where do you, when we were saying, I'm not sure if we said it off air or at the start of the episode, Ben, we all get to a point of being comfortable, and it takes like a crisis or a bunch of pain, right, to then make a change. Is there a way that people can catch that earlier, before the crisis, before the pain? And sometimes you'll have it's like the universe telling you there'll be micro crises along the way. But we don't listen until something big happens at times. Is there a way to catch those things earlier? In whatever way, right? So in terms of, we're talking about nutrition and weight at the moment, but it could be anything. But is there a way to catch that earlier before that crisis?
I don't know. I think what comes up for me when you ask that question is, would you want to? If you're getting away with it,
yeah.
Why would you want to? I think maybe almost that's the language certainly that I use. I don't know about you, but there's the story in my head is, I think we do little check-ins every day. I think we check in with ourselves and we go, no, yeah, I'm good. I'm getting away with it. And I think I was listening to the audiobook of Kevin Hart's book, Taming Monsters, I think it was called. And I think the first monster is, if I remember rightly, it's called "It Won't Happen to Me." It's the "Won't Happen to Me" monster, and it's kind of, I won't get caught. It won't happen. I can cheat, and no one will know. I can drink, and that'll be fine. I'll never become an alcoholic. I can speed, and I won't get caught, and I won't have an accident. It won't happen to me. There's all these things where we kind of, there's stories. It won't happen to me. I won't get caught. And I think we run that story a lot. It won't happen to me. I won't get caught. I won't get sick. I won't lose my money. And I've got to tell you, listeners, that story ain't accurate. So, yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think when you said that, get away with it is, it's definitely true. Fuck, yeah. Until you said that, I was like, yeah, definitely true. I think I wouldn't, if I wasn't injured last year, I wouldn't need to tighten up my diet. Wouldn't need to, because I'd be running. So all right, I'm comfortable in where I'm at in terms of body wise, and I'm running, and I can, probably shouldn't, but I can eat whatever I want. But when you stop the running, and then you're still eating everything, you're like, I can't get away with that now. I can't get away. I need to make a change. But yeah, I think it's too good. You're doing it anyway for a reason, for some sort of satisfaction or pleasure or whatever it is. And if it's good, why would you? And if it's good to you and you don't see the ramifications on it, you wouldn't need to. You wouldn't need to change. You wouldn't need to think about, there's another way necessarily, unless there's pain or there's someone that's brought the awareness to you in a conversation. And that someone has to be someone that you respect and you go, yeah, that's thought-provoking. I'll look into this. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's no shock to the system. I think for a change, there needs to be a shock to the system yeah. And there's probably micro ones under it, and I think the micro ones are too small. Unless, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. For me, it needs to be something like have an oh shit moment. And that can be an internal oh shit moment or an external. But yeah, I personally need to have one of them. Otherwise, Nah, I'm not going to make any change.
Yeah. And I think we acclimatise, get used to, instead of being like 76, I'm 76 and a half. And then all of a sudden we're 77. We go,
It goes up.
that's only half a kilo more than 76 and a half. And then 77 and a half. And they go, well, that's only half a kilo more than 77. It's like we get used to that. It's like,
it's a slippery slope.
People earn more and more money. The trend is, and we are probably still guilty of this in our house. You spend more.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about the price of petrol. And I go, mate, to be honest, I don't know how much petrol costs. He says, oh, no, yeah, it's diesel's now cheaper than, petrol. I mean, I wouldn't know that because, I'm at a kind of level where I don't have to think about which petrol pump do I go to. I just, whichever's the most convenient at the time is what I fill up. But certainly I can remember a few years ago where it's like, let me just check the price before I pull into that servo. We just get acclimatized and shift our lifestyle, what we eat, etc., and we just get used to it. Get used to it. And I remember too, mate, back when I was your age, maybe more Maddie's age actually, we always had entree, main, and dessert. Like every meal was entree, main, and dessert, and we got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were younger, our metabolism was different. We got away with it. Actually, but having said that, in the next mouthful, what I'm going to say is, I look back at some of those photos back when we were in our, late 20s, early 30s, and we weren't the slimmest. We weren't the slimmest, but it's interesting. Because if I flash my mind back, I would have gone, I was pretty slim.
Yeah, but were you happy though? You were happy.
We were happy.
Were you happy?
But were we the slimmest? And then the reflection on that is, were we the healthiest? Deep fried camembert would be a staple for us as a little entree when we got home after work. Mate, if you haven't done deep fried in breadcrumbs, with like a little jam, you microwave the jam and you got this kind of jam sauce that you dip the deep fried camembert into. And that would be like just a little starter with a glass of wine when we got home. And then there would be the main, which should, be something. And then there'd be a bit of dessert to finish with. And we kind of got away with it. And, I look back at the pictures and probably the truth is we weren't getting away with it.
Oh, shit. That's funny.
So I wonder,
But getting away with it is relative, though, to everyone. Like, your version of getting away with it might be different to mine and our next door neighbours and Maddie's and whoever's, right? So I think it's funny you say that. Yeah, I think it's relative, though. But then in that point, you're like, oh, yeah, this is good. I don't need to make a change. I don't need to be the slimmest that I can be at that point in time.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's arbitrary. What is the measure of health, whether it's what your blood test results are or what your bone strength is or what you weigh? I guess who knows where does the line get crossed on that? I wonder whether instinctively we actually really do know and we lie to ourselves about where the line actually is. I think I look at if you're genetically leading a genetically congruent lifestyle, that is, your lifestyle is in line with your genetics, and you look at any Indigenous group that have not been westernized, and you look back at those photos and it's not that long ago, it's 100 years ago, but in the early 1900s and 1920, 100 years ago, they were lean and muscular. They didn't go to the gym. They never dieted. They didn't read positive psychology books, yet they had strong family values, strong culture. They were lean and they were muscular. And that's just 100 years ago. I go to the gym in the mornings, and I was there over the Easter break, and everyone's there pumping iron, lifting, pulling cables, lifting weights, pushing on machines, pounding away on treadmills, and to be honest, most of them are battling against, their lifestyle, which is going in the other direction.
Yeah. But I think also you don't think their day-to-day isn't moving any resistance, isn't moving any weight, isn't running or walking. It's maybe sanitary, right? Like sitting at a desk in front of a screen 8 hours plus a day. You're not moving rocks. You're not moving stuff. You're not walking to go get your water. You might be walking to the water cooler, but you're not walking to the well or the water hole to get your water. You're not chasing after an animal to get your dinner. And you're eating probably like foods in wrappers, right? Like it's all processed. You're not eating necessarily from the land, and so I think there's that. It's like that reversal. Go to the gym to reverse the lifestyle. Where kind of, as you say, 100 years ago, they didn't have to reverse it. Right? They didn't have to, like the gym's reversing what our lifestyle is doing, as opposed to building movement in to our lifestyle, moving like in the morning, like go for your walk, go for your run. You don't necessarily need to go to the gym, but like do some gardening, right? If you have a garden.
Reversing though. Because what I'm saying is I would look around that gym, and if I picture all the bodies that I saw, 80% of them were not bodies from 1920. They were not lean. They were not muscular.
But maybe they're trying to reverse it.
They're trying to, but they're not winning.
I know, but by them going to the gym, they're probably maybe telling themselves the story, I can get away with this lifestyle.
Yeah, I go to the gym. I can
eat whatever.
Go and get a big chia pudding with extra yogurt and thingamajig and a latte, and
I can do what I want. And if I don't go to the gym, then I can't keep getting away with it. So it's like net even. It's like it's not putting him in a deficit to make the change. It's that consistent. If they keep going to the gym, it's keeping them consistent. And if they don't, they'll go maybe to their version of the other end of the scale.
Yeah, maybe. I don't reckon they're winning though. And I think, we're just, I think we've had this conversation before, but this consumerism, I was chatting with a mate this morning, and he was talking about there's a coffee shop near him that is a drive-through, and they do about 1,000 coffees a day. Now, if you put 250 mils worth of oat milk, almond milk, cow milk in those coffees, that's what do we work out? That is, we worked it out this morning. That is 250 litres. 250 litres of milk.
A day.
They go through a day. 250 litres. That's 250 containers. Think about that, 250 containers. Now, maybe, I don't know, these days, probably half of the coffees are milk, or maybe even less. That is cow milk. The other half are some kind of exotic macadamia, almond, oat, soy. And those little 1 litre containers, maybe 150, maybe 200 of those containers, they're opening, unscrewing that plastic lid, tipping out the milk, putting the lid back on, and then after 4 coffees, throwing that container into the rubbish. That's one coffee shop consuming all those cartons of milk. And then how many coffee shops are selling 200 coffees or 300 or 400, or, McDonald's, that are the number one consumer of coffee beans in this country, number one. They sell more coffee than anywhere else. How much milk are they burning through every single day? And So first of all, the consumerism and the effect on the environment from that. And then secondly, the amount of calories that people are consuming.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I'm a small coffee buyer, but I see lots of people that buy in the large. You know?
It's too much milk in it. It's not like you're getting more coffee.
Calories.
It's too much. It's more milk.
So, do you know, like, and, you know, I've sort of joked before, and you see these people, they get their takeaway and they go for a bit of a walk with their takeaway and they've got their elbow bent. I think we might have even talked about this on the podcast before, right? It's like you walk all these people and they've got this 90-degree elbow as they sort of walk around
with the coffee.
And they're calling that exercise while they're consuming 300 calories of milk.
It's net even.
And maybe burning at 50 to 60 calories on a walk.
Yeah.
Mate, it's scary. And I tell you what is scary. And if we can, I'm conscious of time, and this is a bigger topic. Maybe I shouldn't introduce it. Maybe we should save it for another podcast. But now I've sort of said,
you gotta
say something, right? Artificial intelligence.
Oh, mate. This probably is another podcast, but it's fascinating. It is super interesting and fascinating at the moment.
It is accelerating at a pace that's interesting. The people that are doing the research, the people that understand it, and I don't understand it, but the people that understand it are saying
they're concerned.
It's accelerating at such a pace they can't keep up with where AI is at.
Yeah.
They're like days or weeks
behind
or
it.
Months behind the intelligence of the AI.
Yeah.
And so, and if that keeps happening at a 10x pace, let's say it's 10xing every month, well, at some point, AI will be able to do some unbelievable things that we won't know that it'll be able to do. And what does that mean? You know, and now that it's all integrated, now that artificial intelligence can't just read words, it can understand the spoken word, it can understand images, it can collate all that and give you back words, give you back spoken language, give you back images that it's generated itself. And it's hard for us to know the difference between which is real and which is not real because it's getting so better.
Yeah. Well, I'm fascinated by it. Like, I think I've talked to a couple of people recently about it, and they're like, nah, it will never change this, and blah, blah. And some people are a little bit more like, skeptical, but I think a little scared. I'm personally just like fascinated and excited by it. I was saying to Side the other day, I'm going, your primary school needs to be teaching you how to use artificial intelligence. Like, they need to be starting to teach you this stuff on how to use it, how to get the best out of it, because it's here. It's not even coming. It's here. But just going, what's the possibility of things to come, which is fascinating. I was watching a video the other day saying that it could read your brainwaves and then show you pictures the next morning of what your dream was. So read your brainwave during the night and then go, this is what you were dreaming of, right? Like, based on what that brainwave means. And just like that level is like, wow. And we were playing with some things on the weekend. Again, probably basic level where we're going, draw me a picture of this. So they've taken text and then made it into an image. And we tweaked it. And we tweaked it like, we tweaked it with emotions, right? So I think we said like, draw me a purple alien, right? And it draws you a purple alien. Draw me a funny, happy purple alien. And it draws you one, and then then we go, draw a evil purple alien that wants to take over the world. And it's just dark. Like, how can it, like, I wasn't impressed with like, hey, draw me a purple alien. but I was impressed with where you could take that emotion, right, and then put that into picture too. And it's made a decision. I go, okay, this word means this emotion, which means these colors, and it needs to make the viewer feel this way. Which is fascinating.
It is fascinating. When you think about it, though, as humans, everything, we just code everything anyway. Like we are just computer programs, maybe with a consciousness, I don't know. But you know, from a mind perspective, we've just coded everything. Like our language, the way I speak to you is a code. Of the screen I'm looking at with the text and stuff around it and the buttons I click, it's just coded. And because we've got so much of it and we've integrated pictures and text and words and language, you know, we appear intelligent. Well, that's what that's all it's doing, and it can do it at a much faster learning pace than we can. So, mate, I just think it's interesting, and I think, you know, you are of the generation that you're on the edge, I think. Oh, you tell me. That grew up with the internet. You grew up with the internet, yeah?
Yeah.
You don't remember not really having the internet.
I do. We didn't really have it till probably, I was going to say but still probably 10 or something when I was 10. We got the internet, but it was it was dial up. Like you couldn't, you had to use the same line. And if someone called on that line, you get disconnected and you would wait for one website for 8 minutes. Now, if it takes 30 seconds, people get frustrated, right?
Yeah. Well, so there you go, right? So I didn't have the internet till I was 20. And that's just the internet. And then you think about, and that had a huge change in things. But it was slow. There was no Google, you know, couldn't Google something. And then, you know, 10 years after that, Google came in. And then 10 years after that, we had social media arrived. And you think about how now ingrained that is. Like you can't sit, I don't know about you, but we pretty much don't sit without our phone somewhere near us. And someone will say something and we will say, just Google it. And someone will pick up their phone, open up the browser and ask Google the question. Like 30 years ago, you sat there and someone would say, well, where is Texas? We'll all go there.
You might pull up a map or an atlas if you had one in the house, and that was it.
Yeah. Otherwise, things were unanswered. Now you can get all the answers. And so that's so ingrained now. Like the internet is so ingrained. Google is now so ingrained. Social media is so ingrained. It's bound into everything we do, whether you like it or not. You might go, I don't have any social media accounts. Yeah, but the rest of the world does, and it makes decisions based on social media. What about AI? You know, what about when that becomes a permanent fixture of what we do? What does that mean?
I think it already is to a basic level, but we don't see it, right? So, but we call it an algorithm, right? So when your TikTok thing looks at for 3 seconds and it knows, it's like, all right, we know how to scroll. We know it can tell you now how to scroll. It will put things in front of you and manipulate what content is in front of you based on what you spent a long time on, what you searched on your browser, what you potentially said. And you're like, how is this thing listening to me? And there's things popping up, right? Like it's there already on a subconscious level. It's not like in your face yet. But we don't notice those things. We don't think of those as, well, I didn't till recently, as AI. It's like, oh, it's an algorithm. I'm like, algorithm is AI. It's thinking and it's making decisions in terms of a marketing mindset to what to put things in front of you. It's like those old school, like those movies that had those subliminal Coke messages that would just flash like really quick. You wouldn't even notice, and it'll be like 100 times through a movie, and you walk out, I really feel like a Coke. And you wonder why, and it's like because a blimp of a half a millisecond was the Coke emblem during a movie. And yeah, so I think it's happening around, it's embedded, but we don't see it. Like the ads, just look at marketing ads on your phone. It's like cross device now. So like if you look at something on your laptop and then you get on your phone, you're like, why is this? I didn't even look at this on your phone.
And it's really interesting, mate. That's pennies dropped there because it is AI because, you know, I might look at motorbikes, I might look at holidaying, and the next minute I'm getting on my feed a motorbike holiday in India.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's gone, so let me be intelligent on this. Okay, what about if we gave this guy a motorbike holiday in India? He likes holidays, he likes motorbikes, let's bring the two together. It's scary, but it's manipulating, right? And that is technology from 2 years ago. Now, remember, we're 10xing. Like, and so, and AI is moving faster, becoming independent. It's independently moving ahead, becoming intelligent faster than we know how much it's learning. But I've seen the movies. I've seen The Matrix. I've seen those shows where it decides what it thinks is going to be best for us.
We're going to be run by computers.
Well, and we're not run by computers now.
We are, to a certain level, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether you've ever had your internet go down. Not power. You've still got a fridge and heating, but the internet goes down. And it's like everyone freaks out. Like, we're so attached to it. It's really interesting. It's scary. And I think for me, I feel right now so uneducated around AI, and it's moving at such a fast pace beyond, from what I understand, the pace that even those that are in the industry can understand. I feel like the ship sailed, the car's left. It's like it's already driving away and there's no way I can catch it.
Yeah, I don't know.
No point running. No point even trying to chase it.
I don't know. I don't know about that at the moment. I don't know. That's what makes me more fascinated about it. It's like, it's even though it's going at a pace, no one's even looking at this car at a pace, right? And going, this car's going to break down. That's what some of the mentality is, right? But it's like, if you start working out how this car works or get on a slow car to try and catch this car, it's better than not even noticing that car. And being fascinated and going, it is here to stay. And like it or not, you're going to have to learn it at some point in time. Otherwise, it's like the internet. It'll be like the internet. You won't be able to function. 5, 10, 20 years. Probably not even 20 years. I reckon in like 2 years. But I think there's still a lot of opportunity there at the moment. Which is interesting. It's interesting times. It's like a turning point, I think. Which I don't think a lot of people, a majority of people don't realise.
I'm glad, and I bet you are too, that we are in a, what's the word? I don't even know what the word is. It used to be just like normal. But the word would be we're in a, we work in the reality space, not the virtual reality space. You know, both our businesses require humans. Can't do a high ropes course using AI.
No.
You can do it virtually, you know, put the goggles on. I don't know whether you've ever done that. You know, you walk the plank.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, woo, you know. But, you know, and people, massage is a physical thing. I shouldn't say it, but maybe nutrition isn't. You know,
Mate.
maybe you could turn up to the AI computer and say, hey, this is what I'm suffering with. What do you reckon?
Mate, fascinating you should say that, because I saw this clip of in the States they've put in a like an ATM style pharmacist, right? So it's in a pharmacy building and it's an AI pharmacist, right? So they photo identify you with a camera and your ID, and you present your symptoms to this AI robot. And then it will say this, this, and this, and then go, yeah, we'll prescribe you this, right? And then if it's escalated like 3 times, then it gets phoned to an actual pharmacist. And then the actual pharmacist will be on the other end of the camera and go, yep, here you go. But they'll distribute over-the-counter medicine. So you can go to this ATM and go, hey, look, I've got this foot rash and blah, blah. And they go, oh, yep, it's tinea. Great. You know what? Here, this is the powder. This is how much it costs. Do you want it? Yes, great. And they'll pop it out. Here, pay for it. Pop it out like a vending machine. Right? So basic level pharmaceutical, like non-prescription over-the-counter is happening already, because they're like, oh, we don't need a pharmacist to take the pharmacist's time for some basic stuff. Let's create an AI robot to do it. And we don't need people in the store. So let's do it on the outside of the store so that we don't need people in, and it's 24 hours a day.
Which sounds amazing, right? But the healthcare practitioner in me says, you know, like if that was just a young, 25-year-old guy and he's got tinea on his foot, and he went and saw a good healthcare practitioner, the practitioner say, mate, come on, you need to start looking after yourself. You got to dry your feet when you get out of the shower. Make sure you wash your socks, put some fresh socks on every day. And, if you get some time, walk around barefoot, let your foot air out and, blah, 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 blah. Like,
yeah, there's all this.
Fixing the problem, right?
There's all this preventative.
Skipped all that and gone to the quick shortcut. And so if the kid doesn't get that and get inspired, and the practitioner say, mate, come on, you're worth it. You're worth looking after yourself a little better. Take some pride in yourself and look after your body. It's the only one you've got, and da-da-da-da. This kid could be on tinea cream for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm. It's going to continue treating a symptom, right, and not the cause.
Which healthcare does anyway. Most of healthcare these days is symptomatic treatment.
Mm-hmm.
You add AI to it, unless you program the AI differently. But, who wants an AI machine to say, wash your feet and look after yourself?
Nah, because then the pharmaceutical company is not making any money. Right?
It's fascinating. It's moving so fast. I think it's going to pop up on this podcast again. I think in probably 3 months we'll be chatting about the next thing. My concern is that people like you and I are dabbling in the fun, curious part of it. But what's really going on behind the scenes? And we see the Australian AI versions. What about the ones in Russia or China, in the countries that maybe...
I like how you're picking your words here. That are potentially known for not having always the best intentions.
Yeah. We say that, and I was thinking about being careful. But you know what? I don't reckon probably any countries have necessarily the best intentions around other countries. We're not global.
They're just thinking about themselves, yeah.
We are all thinking about ourselves, and I'm sure Australia is using AI technology and behind the scenes to kind of work out how it could, defend itself, and who knows, So, so what's going on behind the scenes? We see the fun stuff. Oh, make an image of an alien. Then what are they doing with it, with the technology, really? So, interesting. I'm curious. What's your, we're at time. What's your summary from today's chat?
Wow. When you start to notice that you're not getting away with something, when you start to notice, start to make a change, right? So when you start to notice your health is getting away from you, like you start to notice, not like there's this existential crisis around it and you're having a heart attack and all that. When you start to notice, then make a change. When you start to notice that, this AI thing is maybe here to stay, maybe I'll double and just read a little bit about it, or just try to wrap my head around bits and pieces of it. Then you make a change, right? So that would be mine. When you start to notice things to move away from what you're comfortable from, and that's relative to everyone, explore a change. For you?
But I think I would add to that. I think it's really what I would say is I'd add to that, and I'd say that exactly everything that you just said is going to require embracing discomfort. The discomfort from doing what you're currently doing, which you've lied to yourself for a while is working. No problem here. It won't happen to me. It's easy to keep doing that, but it's uncomfortable to make a shift to doing something else. It'd be easy for me not to kind of investigate AI and just go, hey, that ship sailed. It would be hard work. It would be uncomfortable for me to actually do my best to understand it as much as I need to. That would be uncomfortable. So recognizing that yes, things need to change, and then embracing the fact that change will be uncomfortable. It's good.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you. Good to catch up. And we missed Matty today. He is 4 hours or something behind us.
4. Yeah. So he's like 5 o'clock, 5 a.m. for him. So we'll let him off this time.
We will. Mate, good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. All right, listeners, till next time. Thanks again. Thanks for listening to another episode of Lifelong Learner. If you like this episode and want to know more and hear other episodes, head over to lifelonglearnerpodcast.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter, where you'll be the first to know when new podcast episodes come out. And if you want to say hello, tell us a joke, or ask us a question, send us an email at hello@lifelonglearnerpodcast.com. Thanks again.